super standing in their way are the Buckeyes of Ohio State and their high-powered offense. As we welcome you to the NCAA Softball Regionals, presented by Capital One. And folks, half of the field has already been eliminated. Only 16 teams remain after today. Tennessee with wins over teams out of the Buckeye State, including Ohio State. They staved off the
This is a very young Ohio State pitching staff. 3 freshman arms and only 18 innings of experience coming into this season. And guess what? Kennedy K holds all 18.
Kinsey Fiedler, the senior out of Lee's Summit, Missouri, fouling off the first couple of pitches. Well, one thing that Karen Weekly has seen out of her offense since Friday is the ability to get on base. They got the leadoff on in the first 5 innings yesterday in their win against the Buckeyes. Lady Vols trying to make a trip to their 14th Super Regional. And this group has looked solid all weekend long. The 1-2 pitch to Fiedler. Outside for ball 2. Go back to that win Friday, 17 runs, tied for second most in a tournament by the Lady Vols, and that run rule victory over Miami of Ohio. And Kinsey Fiedler sends this one out to the center gap, and right there is Skylar Lamone for out number 1.
One of the most iconic coaches in our game right now, 24th season at Tennessee. See the Super Regional appearance. Second straight. She's got 6 SEC titles, over 1,300 wins. And she is one of the best to ever do it.
And remember, she helped to build this program into a perennial power with her husband, Ralph Weekly. They were co-head coaches for 19 seasons until his retirement in 2021. She's since taken over the program, and they have just been uber successful under the solo leadership of Coach Weekly. Savia Morgan.
Chance to say hi to Ralph yesterday. He stopped by the booth and said hello. Sounds like he's working on a book, writing a book.
Yeah. Well, he's got USA softball experience. He was the national director, assistant, and so he said, well, I'm the one with all the knowledge and information, so I can provide some insight. And that pause there that you saw was a defensive swap in the infield for Ohio State, with the second baseman Caitlin Farley moving over to third and Sammy Buick taking her position at second. We've seen that throughout the weekend, something that's been very common as a defensive strategy for Karen Kumar and her team.
Well, it was interesting in day 1 that swap was actually what extended an inning for Ohio State. An out was wiped off the board. North Carolina pulled back up to the plate. That's a defensive change that's got to be reported. 2K not reporting it to home plate. Well, she has reported it every single defensive swap since.
And so we anticipate seeing her come back out to alert Aaron Peterson, the home plate umpire, of the swap back.
We had some good discussion too. We see those situational defensive changes quite often, specifically against the slappers, as you just saw with Savia Morgan. The difference is that when it's a clean switch and there's no position open, it does require reporting to home plate umpire. I mean, I see it all the time. You see center fielder walk into the dirt, serve as that 5th infielder, but because there's a position open, that doesn't require a report.
First pitch swinging, lined out to Cami Quartercracks at short. 1-2-3 inning for Kennedy K. State offense as we take a look at the Buckeyes starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One and Reagan Milliken, the senior, who has had an outstanding weekend. 6 for 9, a couple of home runs, and 3 RBI in the process. to help fuel this Ohio State team. And obviously this Buckeye group, who's already done some great things, they were able to get a number of home runs boosted out of the park. Tied a single game record in the NCAA tournament with 6 against North Carolina. They're coming off the most wins that they, or runs rather, that they have scored in an NCAA tournament. And that victory of Miami of Ohio yesterday. Elimination game allowed them a rematch here against Tennessee, and Hadley Parisian down 0-2 in the count, pops it up. Underneath it is McKenna Gibson in foul territory along the first base line, and 1 away.
This is an Ohio State team that leads the nation in multiple offensive categories: total runs scored, home runs, RBIs, averaging over 8 per game. Head coach Kiran Kumar, 2K as they like to call her, was quick to let us know pre-weekend call that not only do they lead in the long ball and runs scored, but they also lead in walks. They lead this nation in free backs. Pretty important category as well.
Jazzy Burns, one of the best hitters in this lineup for Kiran Kumar, and those are the numbers that you're talking about, Aaron, right there. I mean, just jarring when you see 147 home runs, 495 runs scored, to go along with the number of base on balls this season, 278. It's just been outstanding as first-year head coach Kiran Kumar has lifted this program and their offensive prowess. This group making their first regional final appearance since 2018. They faced off against another SEC team back then against Florida. They needed to win twice then. And here they find themselves in a similar position, needing to notch 2 here this afternoon. The 1-2 pitch going up and getting it, and down the third baseline, a diving Taylor Panel could not get to it, and a 1-out base hit for Jazzy Burns.
Jazzy Burns has gone yard a couple times this weekend, struggled a bit in day 2 at the plate, a couple of strikeouts, a ground out, and trying to find that ball back in the strike zone. Laces this one down the third base line past Panel.
Here's Cami Quartercrack swinging at the first pitch, and she's one of a handful of starters that Kiran Kumar saw returning to this program, and Quartercracks, who has just been terrific throughout her career in a Buckeye uniform. A leader for this team, not only by her play on the field, but also vocally, and talking with Quartercracks, she's really been able to just glean from the knowledge and the offensive mind from Kiran Kumar. She's credited her coach for just bringing out the best of their talent this season.
She actually, Quartercracks brought up this theory called the J curve, and I guess that's something that 2K talks about frequently during fall off season, and that this team, once they start to train, once they start to hit the ground running with team practices and weightlifting, that there's going to be a moment you feel like you're getting worse. You're going to get beat up. You're going to be tired. The body's going to take a beating. You're going to feel like you're taking some steps back before you start to see that J curve peak. 2K had some good laughs with Cami Quartercracks too. She said, I thought for a second I messed you up a little bit. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. A heck of a season in the 3-hole.
And this one into the stands, and everyone kind of clearing the way. Still 1-2.
She's one of 4 in this starting lineup that has over 20 home runs. guard twice yesterday.
I mean, 1 through 9 is hitting above 300. And quarter cracks goes down swinging. Margeco loves it. You see the communication between her and Sophia Nugent. The fans here for the Lady Vols like it as well.
This is a sophomore arm in Margeco that can move to all 4 quadrants. She really does have it all. And talking to Karen Weekly about this young arm, when she pitches with reckless abandon, it is brilliant to watch, and settling in here early against a tough offense.
That brings up Reagan Milliken, the 4-hole hitter. Milliken, the senior out of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, who came into this season with just 1 hit in her career. And now she's experiencing a career best in her final season with Ohio State. You see where her numbers rank. You mentioned 4 different players having hit 20 home runs or more. Milliken in that number as she pops it up in the shallow center. Calling for it is Ella Dodge, and a runner stranded, and we'll go to the 2nd inning scored.
So true. Yesterday we saw him in the kilts. Little river dance happened on the concourse.
You mentioned the overalls of the past. They continue to expand. Well, credit Kennedy Kay, who sat down the Lady Vols in order for the first time this weekend. Sophia Nugent leading it off here for Tennessee. She's been one of the hot bats. Caught inside, and Sammy Buick over there with the dugout. And she retires. Sophia Nugent, another look here.
This takes a lot of awareness, a lot of communication. You can see her and Jazzy Burns behind the home plate, chatting with each other, trying to communicate where this ball is and who's going to give chase.
And we've seen a number of those balls popped up and not able to be collected throughout this weekend. Good job by Buick.
We've had some suns and high skies.
Well, this is how Tennessee got here. If you're just tuning in, an explosive day at the plate for the Lady Vols. 17 runs put up to take down Miami of Ohio, and they defeated Ohio State yesterday behind the arm of Carlin Pickens. First base hit for the Lady Vols coming off the bat of McKenna Gibson.
Gibson is such a stud. Not just only with the talent, with what she can do physically on this field, but you know how she's described by her teammates, by her coaching staff, is steady Eddie. Like you never know if she's high, low, anything in between. It shows up in her patience, her command at the plate.
Gibson steady. Laura Mueller has been sizzling this weekend. Grand slam, RBI single. Her numbers so impressive. 3 hits and 4 at-bats this weekend. 5 RBI total, the most of anyone on this Tennessee team this weekend. Senior out of Chapel Hill, Tennessee.
This is a senior that spent most of last season just trying to convince herself and prove that she belonged here. Said that this last year for her has been one of freedom.
And what a snag and ride by Taylor Cruz to rob Mueller of her 4th base hit of the weekend.
You know, you hear this all the time, that defense wins championships. Well, 2K, Karen Kumar challenged us on that theory, that defense doesn't win championships. Defense gives your offense time and space to put runs on the board. And with this offense of Ohio State and defensive plays like that, they're liable to go pretty deep.
Well, she wasn't shy about saying, hey, look, we messed it up in our Big Ten tournament game, our last appearance where we had 5 errors. She said, that had to be erased. We had to clean that up in order to give ourselves a shot. Now 2 down for Emma Clark. And one of the trio of freshmen that Karen Weekly sees in the starting lineup, and some question this Tennessee offense coming into regionals about whether they would be able to produce to advance on. And Karen Weekly says, hey, we blocked out that noise, and quite honestly, we were tired of hearing all of that because we knew what we were capable of, and they have certainly shown that thus far through their 2 games.
This is a team that at one point was dead last in offensive numbers in the SEC, and I've had a chance to cover Tennessee quite a bit this year. A lot of honest conversations with Karen Weekly. At one point she said, we're aware of it. We talk about it, we're working on it, we take pride in it. We want to see this shift offensively for this group, and coming into this weekend, we asked about that offensive evolution. Said that Ole Miss series was one that really turned things around, a complete offensive weekend for this group. They scored in multiple ways. And it was the little things that got the job done. There's truly nothing this team hasn't seen, and that's something she's grateful for. Playing in the SEC, this team's been battle tested all year long.
The 2-2 pitch to Emma Clark. And Clark is retired, so single by McKenna Gibson. She's left on base as we move to the bottom. Caitlin Farley, Sammy Buick, Morgan Fry due up. Farley, first pitch swinging, the senior second baseman. 3-year starter in this program. Career numbers above 300 this season, a dozen home runs. And helping this program to notch 45 wins on the season, tied for 3rd most in program history. Looking back over the Buckeyes this season, they tested themselves early just to prepare themselves for the gauntlet of the Big 12 and try to get ready for the types of teams they face in the NCAA tournament. As going back to the warning track is Savannah Morgan, she rings in that one.
You know, they've even moved the needle just within their conference. Most home runs in Big 10 history. #1 in extra base hits, #1 in home run. I mean, this is nationally what they've done, but 2 even in their own backyard. The Big 10, this has been a massive year for Ohio State.
Finished 11th last year, a 4th place finish in the Big 10 this season. Big series wins against Nebraska, sweeping Michigan. Both those teams in action in the tournament today. It's going to be really interesting because whoever wins in this Knoxville regional will face off against either the Huskers or the darlings of the tournament for the 2nd season in a row, Southeastern Louisiana Lady Lions, after their major upset over LSU, knocking off the 10 seed. So first and only national seed to go down, but several are on the ropes today, including #1 Texas A&M. They've got to win 2 to stave off elimination as Sammy Buick.
Well, in Southeastern Louisiana, beating LSU twice on their home turf, hosting that regional site. The only team that has run-rolled Southeastern Louisiana all season long, Nebraska. So they're going to have to take 2 from the only team that has blanked them in 5 innings.
Well, you listened to your coach yesterday and just
gosh.
Furman he's got a whole different approach and mentality, but they were as fearless as ever
That post-game interview
night,
brought me to tears. Yeah. I mean, it was emotional, the pride he had in this program, what they did last year in Tuscaloosa, the fact that they've been able to turn around and beat the host not once but twice this year in Baton Rouge. Winner of that game today, potentially facing Knoxville, or if Ohio State can take two, the Buckeyes.
They're buckle at the knees, and Morgan Fry is now facing a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Marjecko doing a really good job of settling in. There's back-to-back changeups. I mean, this is a mid-60s arm. Sage Marjecko just shaves the corner so well, has a curve and a screw. Really good at spotting both sides of this strike zone. I think right now, knowing that she's facing one of the hottest and most powerful offenses in the nation, that pitch has to be on. You have to be able to change speeds against a team like Ohio State.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Fouled off once again. Again, you go back to that May 2nd start in that Texas A&M series for Marjecko. Went 5 innings, only gave up 1 run, struck out 3 in their lone victory over the Aggies. Karen Weekly, full confidence in the sophomore here today as the count draws full.
This is a pitch that Marjecko wants to get called, but that is the right call. I mean, you can see right over the chalk line, a great take by Morgan Fry. Keep in mind, we're early in this game, right? Sage Marjecko still trying to understand and establish this strike zone with home plate umpire Aaron Peterson behind the plate. For both Kennedy Kay and Sage Marjecko, it's understanding what they can get away with. How is this going to shape my pitch sequences moving forward? Where can I go?
The 2-out walk to Fry brings up Skylar Lamone, and remember, we've seen all weekend the way that the bottom of the order has produced for Ohio State. Lamone hitting in the 8-hole. Second team all Big Ten selection. Has really made the most of her opportunities this season. And there illustrates the point perfectly. 6 hits, 5 RBI, a couple of home runs, and again, 6 walks as well. As Megan Rhodes Smith out in the circle to talk it over with her battery, as Carlin Pickens getting ready in the bullpen if needed. The conversation that you and I had before today's game is how long of a leash, or how short was that leash going to be for Sage Marjecko in the circle?
Right now, a scoreless ball game. I would imagine the goal here is for a little bit of breath and some more recovery for Carlin Pickens, who threw a complete game yesterday, threw 2 innings in day 1. And for Marjecko to hold down the fort, right? To throw her best stuff, to provide some time and space for Tennessee offense to settle in, put some runs up on the board. I think Marjecko's been doing a really good job. The off-speed pitch has looked strong. She's just got to continue to establish that strike zone first time through the order.
The 2-2 pitch. And she gets Lamone looking. Big K there for Sage Marjecko.
The best arms learn quick. Well, Sage Marjecko is a fast learner, Tiff Green. She's settling in on the outside part of this plate. 3 up, 3 down, Tennessee.
We Meanwhile, for Kennedy K, what have you seen out of this redshirt junior's arm thus far? And how she's been effective so far, only allowing one hit against this resurgent Lady Vol offense. As Gabby Leach grounds it over to shortstop.
This is an arm that, per 2K, has to hit the spots well to be successful. This was a year where she really focused on the drop ball, nailing that break and that pitch all off season long, and right now using the defense behind her. Has some flyouts, some groundouts. This is not a strikeout arm. This is a team that's got to use the D behind her in order to get out of innings, and has done a pretty good job.
Here's the freshman Ella Dodge taking strike one. Dodge, who has had some great moments so far in her freshman campaign. Bright future ahead for the red shirt. Freshman out of Bradenton, Florida. A game-winning home run against Oklahoma back in March. That was her first hit in SEC play. And since then, she's continued to build on those good moments. The 2-1. And Dodge over to second base. And 2 down.
Again, another drop ball. I will tell you, a drop ball was my least favorite pitch to have to prepare for, to have a plan for. Not only are you having to time up the location of this pitch being low at the knees, but you also have to plan and time the break. The fact that it falls late in the strike zone, the back half of your stance dips down under that kneecap. What you're noticing is Tennessee out early, rolling over that pitch. You have to see a drop ball late. You almost have to envision a drop ball being up the middle, opposite field, like an off-speed pitch is how I would approach a drop ball arm. You cannot be early.
Back to the top of the order, and Kinsey Fiedler. That drop ball, she hit over the quarter cracks, and the delayed call, but out at first base, and 3 up, 3 down. So Kennedy K, Cami quarter cracks, this Ohio State team clicking on both pitching and defense thus far. Players to play softball here for Karen Weekly. Gabby Leach, Alana Leach currently on the team. Folks, an opportunity to advance to the Super Regional round, and Tennessee 1 game away. Ohio State needs to win this game and the next game if they can push to get their first Super in 7 years. It's the win or go home time. Both teams we've really seen bringing their best today, each with 1 hit apiece. 1 scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd, and the grounder over to the corner, and Taylor Cruz is retired. Taylor Panel, who has meant so much to this Tennessee team this season, but that put out. And back to the top of the order is Hadley Parisian and these Ohio State Buckeyes. That one sailed out of the hand of Marjeko, who has NCAA tournament experience. Remember, she was with South Carolina last year and started for the Gamecocks. We're currently national seed this season. Which story that was. Picked to finish last in the SEC. And first-year head coach Ashley Chastain Woodard has done amazing things with the crew out of Columbia, South Carolina.
I had a chance to call South Carolina softball this year as well, and boy, what a wild year it has been for her. I mean, coming into brand new program, her husband still coaching baseball at Charlotte. They live 90 minutes away from each other, bought a house in South Carolina and doing the long distance thing for a while.
Hanging up in the air for a while, and Fieldler is there.
One of the goals for South Carolina this year was just to get in the middle of the pack of that conference. They end up hosting a regional, top 16 seeds. And speaking of goals, another first-year head coach in Kiran Kumar, she told us, I came into this program with no expectation. Completely different approach. No goals on the whiteboard for 2K, and wanted to allow this team to develop their own story, a player-led program. And I think any expectations maybe she did have that she wouldn't share, I think they've exceeded them.
One of 8 teams out of the Big Ten who set a conference record, sending teams here and exceeding the expectations. But where did it start? It started with the confidence that she brought into this program, the belief and assuredness that she has that allowed her players to buy in and get this success. How about the success in the circle for Sage Marjeko?
It's been the off speed. This changeup has been money. You see the tucked knuckle, it's enough to get the job done. We're already in the 4th inning. This game has flown by. A lot of unproductive outs, rollover ground balls, lazy fly balls. I think that for both of these teams, something's got to give.
Savia Morgan, first pitch swinging, giving chase over the head of Skylar Lamone in center field, and the leadoff double. The Cranestown celebration at second base.
You know, this is a triple threat athlete. She can bunt, she can hit for power, 2 home runs on the year. This is 25 stolen bases for Savia Morgan. It was just a matter of time. You burn the outfield, you're bound to give up an extra 60 feet. There is so much talent, so hard to defend someone like Savia Morgan.
And now you bring up a player like Taylor Panel, or Panel Power as they like to say, who is first team All-SEC selection, north of 400 on the season for batting average. Now with an opportunity, the best of the day for either team, with Morgan in scoring position and Powell. Panel
Twister.
Power, there it is. I'm sorry, too many P's there. Doing too much.
I love the alliteration. We heard Karen Weekly say we're hitting a lot of right at 'em balls. That was right at Lamone in center field, but over her head.
And what you're seeing right now here too, Savia Morgan getting the message from that huddle just before this inning started. And a theme that we've heard throughout is PTK, punch to kill.
And KTP, I mean, those are 2 interchangeable terms that this team uses. Keep throwing punches and punch to kill. You can see the custom, might I add, boxing gloves in the dugout. Those are pretty sweet. This is a team that wants to win with a statement.
And Panel pops it up. Lamone calling for it, and comes to get it one away.
Dates all the way back to an alumni in Mainers Posey who played at Tennessee from 05 to 08, and Karen Weekly telling us in detail that this was an athlete she coached that grew up in a rough neighborhood in Los Angeles and would literally grow up getting into fights in her hometown. Shared with the team that the only way to win was to keep swinging, and coach said she has never forgotten that conversation, that everything you do
It's got to be for the kill punish. Keep swinging.
Indeed, first pitch swinging there for Sophia Nugent. And that's going to advance Savia Morgan to third. She is now 60 feet from home, but the Lady Vols now have 2 outs.
This is in the heart of the order, too. Nugent sends that all the way to the warning track, giving way for Savia Morgan to tag an extra 60 feet. And Boo Gibson, who has just been money all weekend long, a chance with 2 outs for Tennessee.
The senior swings it over the grounder, and Quartercracks, who's been busy so far today, and the leadoff double from Savia Morgan couldn't come home, and we're scoreless. I'll tell you this, Aaron, this is a Tennessee team seeking their 9th straight regional game win. They're hosting once again for the 20th straight season. There's so much history with this program. 8 Women's College World Series appearances, last time coming in 2023. And when you think about what Karen Weekly said, hey, yeah, you can't just ride one horse into Oklahoma City. Carlin Pickens is outstanding, but Sage Marjeko has done a terrific job so far limiting this Ohio State offense to just 1 hit.
This is a pitching staff that, described by Karen Weekly, has that dog. They've got the fight in the gut, a team that knows how to put it together to go the distance. And it's easy to talk about Carlin Pickens. There's so much to love about her performance in the circle, but she's only as good as the support around her, and you're seeing Sage Marjeko, sophomore arm in the circle, put together a heck of a performance here in day 3. Newer, who's a freshman, brilliant movement in the circle, can hit up to 70 miles an hour, also part of this stellar staff. Peyton Tanner, another freshman, she threw a perfect game against Delaware State earlier this season. Newer had a no-hitter also against Bethune-Cookman early in February.
The 2-2 to Cami Quartercracks. Sharply hit to the corner, and Taylor Pano handling it easily. And we came in talking about the 10 home runs, most of any team in the NCAA tournament. They scored 22 runs throughout, but right now they've not been able to figure out Sage Marjeko. Clean up Reagan Milliken, who down to second base, and you see the off-speed offering, the clutch there, and for a strike. She goes around and commits Aaron Peterson behind the plate.
48 miles an hour on this pitch. See the lower body way out in front, unable to keep the barrel out of that zone. And that ball is not even in the strike zone, but it's the change of speed that's enough to get the bite from Reagan Milliken. I mean, I didn't even have this pitch for Marjeko on my radar to be something to really tune into today from an analysis standpoint. I typically see Marjeko splice up the east and west movement with that curve and screw. But it's easy math. I think when you're facing a team with this type of power, you gotta lean on change of speed.
The 2-2. Milliken fouls it off. Ohio State, who had 1 hit through 5 innings yesterday against Tennessee, was able to get moving later in that ball game. Put together 4 hits and then able to notch 2 runs. Again, off speed, holding off of that one is Milliken, and the count draws full. Fouls off that one. And the payoff, gets her looking, paints it there perfectly.
This is just such a great sequence of pitches for Margeco. An equal use of her screwball and her changeup. Again, going back to what she has done so well all season, which is that late break on the inside corner. Paired with this pitch, that one even 46 miles an hour, my goodness.
She's been catching them looking.
I think that's over a 20-mile-an-hour difference.
Yeah. Again, you heard Karen Weekly saying, hey, look, we know she's got great stuff. She's adjusted herself through the zone, and she can go up and down, as you mentioned, changing those speeds. Just making it difficult for these on the 1-2 pitch, driven up the middle into center field, and Caitlin Farley is aboard with the 2-out single.
This is up the middle of the field. Back to timing, how important the timing is, not only on the changeup, but on the drop ball. Low in the zone, Farley able to see that pitch deep, extend the barrel up the middle of the field.
Swinging at that one is Sammy Buick, and when you hear the home run numbers that we've talked about all season long and throughout this weekend for Ohio State, the goal is to just hit the ball hard. You saw that aggressive swing there from Sammy Buick. They're trying to hit line drives. They're trying to just hit the ball hard. That is the simplicity of the approach for Ohio State.
This isn't a team that self-identifies as a home run hitting team. They identify as a team that hits the ball hard. And they admitted that to us, that we really don't live in that home run world. We don't look at numbers. We don't dissect the statistics. We're a team that wants to hunt good pitches and put the barrel on the ball in a violent way. The home runs just tend to happen.
Scorched foul. Count still 1-2 for Sammy Buick, who followed Karen Kumar from Miami of Ohio to Ohio State. Was the MAC freshman a season ago. Freshman of the year a season ago. And quick visit to the circle with Sage Margeco from pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith. Crowd getting behind Margeco on this 1-2 pitch.
Well,
if you're Buick at the plate, you know you have to protect the off-speed pitch, but you also have to protect the fastball. And this is why with 2 strikes and an arm like Margeco makes protecting the spread so much tougher. Really good take. We've seen some bites on that pitch that one-hops Nugent.
The 2-2 offering. Buick once again fouling it off, so good at bat.
Buick, one of the only 2 in this starting order, less than double-digit home runs, sitting at 9.
Got a piece of that one and stays alive as it gets out of the glove of Nugent. Keeping it going here. This one, is it going to be playable? Yes! And Savia Morgan is there in foul territory. Scoreless now through. And when Karen Weekly gave the call for Craig Snyder to come take over as the hitting coach, he said it was an absolute no-brainer. And there's really a great appreciation for his approach. There's a versatility that he brings and being able to get runners in motion and using all aspects. And there, Laura Mueller leads off with the base hit.
Well, whatever he said, it took one pitch to put it into action. Mueller, who's had a tremendous weekend at the plate for Tennessee, off the glove of Buick at third and enough to punch through the 5-6 hole. You know, Craig Snyder, their hitting coach, in his first season here, spent a lot of time in a lot of different places, spent some time in Oklahoma, spent some time at Florida State, won a title actually at FSU. Was on staff as an assistant at A&M. 2 seasons as head coach at Texas Tech. Made his way over now to Tennessee.
And then McKenna Gibson talked about just how he provided kind of a breath of fresh air given the lack of consistent offense that this group produced last year in the Super Regional Tournament against Alabama, just 6 runs in 27 innings. So they came under attack then, but he's turned things around, and we saw them find ways to manufacture, put players in motion, lay down, sacrifice, and that's how they were able to notch a win against Ohio State yesterday. It took all phases of their offensive game.
This is a hitting coach. I've known Craig for a long time, have covered a lot of his teams, is very game plan focused, mental mindset, genius. And even talking to Karen Weekly about the addition of Craig Snyder, said he's really been pushing our offense to think the game differently, to expand their approach and what this team can handle. Not just a textbook strike zone or a cookie cutter approach, but to really think for themselves at the plate.
Great example there. Emma Clark laying down the sacrifice bunt, doing what's necessary. Laura Mueller now is standing at second base and in scoring position.
The short game, so important, always important, but especially in these moments. A championship on the line to move on to Super Regionals. And Emma Clark, the freshman now, her second sacrifice bunt of the tournament.
And a pinch runner in at second base, Amanda Allen. So the junior ready to wheel around as Gabby Leach steps up to the plate. Again, Tennessee, Ohio State battling for an opportunity One will advance to the Super Regionals next weekend. Tennessee, if they win this game, they will move on. Ohio State needs to win 2. Gabby Leach sends this one into center field. Allen tagging up. And now she's at third. Sunday Night Baseball, the Subway Series finale between Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, and the Mets taking on Aaron Judge and the Yankees. 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown. All right, folks. Here's an opportunity for the Lady Vols. Runner on third, Ella Dodge, first pitch swinging and flies out to Hadley Parisian and left the pitching. We have seen the defense, but we have yet to see the offense from Ohio State.
Oh, you mentioned player-led. I mean, even the sentiment from 2K to us was that if she was absent during the week, this is a team that could run their own practice. This is a team that could handle their business. Seniors, leaders would be able to step forward and run a complete practice with full respect for the task at hand. That is the level of expectation and excellence of this program.
One of the 4 seniors at the plate, and Morgan Fry. Let's see if the Buckeyes can muster up something here in the bottom half of the inning against Marjeko, who's held them at bay to this point. Just came into this game 6 thinking, oh yeah, it's absolutely going to be a pitcher's duel.
I was just about to say, it feels to this point where we are in the bottom of the 5th inning, this game has flown by, and it has been a battle of arms. And in my opinion, the intuition, I call it a lot of softball, it feels like this is going to come down to one swing. Defense has been lights out. Pitching has been so sharp. It's been the offense just trying to squeak something across.
And Morgan Fry flies out to left. 1 away. Just so much on the line for all the 32 teams around the country still playing around the 16 regional sites. We saw a lot of drama already over the last couple of days. And I'll tell you, the drama is building here about who's going to break through first, Aaron. To your point, that one swing, that one play.
We've already seen the #1 seed take a loss. We've seen a national seed be eliminated. Louisiana State beaten by Southeastern Louisiana last night on their home turf. And that is exactly who one of these teams will face in a super regional between Nebraska, Southeastern Louisiana.
And then you've got teams like Arizona, and Duke, and Oregon with their backs against the wall as well, needing to win 2 today. And Skylar Lamone aboard with a walk, but you were just referencing this, Aaron. Huge game down in Baton Rouge. And will it be Southeastern Louisiana? Can they muster up that magic and win 2 games against Nebraska, where the Huskers move on?
Nebraska in the driver's seat. Southeastern Louisiana would have to beat Nebraska twice. The first time those 2 teams faced each other, Nebraska beat Southeastern Louisiana in a run rule victory. That's the only run rule that Southeastern Louisiana has had all season long.
And the bunt from Taylor Cruz, and the sack bunt successful as Lamone moves to second. And you just saw there some activity as the freshman Aaron Newer trotted to the bullpen in case needed, as Marcheco at 86 pitches now.
That rolls this lineup over to Hadley Parisian. I mean, Taylor Cruz, who just laid down that bunt, she's a 16 home run bat. That should give you the perspective of what is on the line right now, that 2K standing in that third base coaching box is playing for a run. I mean, that is the pressure, that is the tension that we're feeling right now on this field, is that a team that leads the nation in home runs is using a young woman that has 16 home runs on the year to move Skylar Lamone 60 feet.
And Hadley Parisian, who we mentioned in the open with multi-home runs in a game. You know she's going to be swinging away as she's doubled her power numbers from a season ago. Fouls that one back behind home plate.
This is one of those Miami superstars that followed Karen Kumar over to this Ohio State program.
The 2-2 pitch with 2 outs. Off speed high, and it's now full. Well, we saw Tennessee, the top half of the inning, have an opportunity. And now Ohio State, here's their chance. And Marcheco rises to the occasion. 4th time a Buckeye has been caught looking. Who's fired up? I'll tell you. Sophomore Sage Marcheco certainly is, and why?
Coming down at Kennedy K, Sage Marcheco. We are scoreless now to 6. This has just been, it's flying by.
Yeah.
It really does feel like it's going to come down to 1 pitch, 1 swing, 1 play.
And she is out as that ball touched her as she came out of the box. And so the leadoff hitter here, Kinsey Fiedler.
Yeah, Aaron Peterson behind the plate, umpire immediately making this call. It's the first one we've seen all weekend.
And again, Aaron, you talked about this at the start of the game and how you put those emotions in check, in place, and just go out and play your game, understanding what's at stake. And Ohio State is trying to get to a super regional for the first time in 7 years. It's been commonplace for this Tennessee team. Looking for their 3rd straight super regional appearance. And Savia Morgan, who doubled her last time up, hits it over to Caitlin Farley at second base, and with the speed, legs it out.
Karen Kumar immediately out of the dugout. I think gonna go to the headset here. Wants another look at this play. Savia Morgan, 25 stolen bases on the season, and that look is pretty clear in my opinion, Tiffany. I think she is safe.
Yeah, I agree as well, and that's what the call was on the field.
Ohio State is challenging the call at first base of safe.
So they'll go to the headsets and talk it over with the officials up in Pittsburgh. But that extra little bobble by Caitlin Farley at second allowed for that little split second for the stride of Morgan to touch the bag.
You have to be perfect defensively against this speed. You just have to. There is no room for the split second bobble, for the miscue, a sticky glove, a sticky finger. You have to be perfect
against the legs that have 25 stolen bases on the year. This is why speed is so hard to defend. It applies pressure.
And again, the defense for Ohio State has shown up here today. But you know, you just leave one little window open. You want to try to take advantage of that if you're Tennessee, depending upon the call here, if it is upheld.
After review, the call on the field is upheld. The runner is safe. Ohio State's first challenge.
So unsuccessful in the challenge. Ohio State has one remaining. Each team gets two. So this one out single, Savia Morgan at first. Again, we've seen a runner on in the last, over the last few innings now for Tennessee. They were in position, got as close as third base, but couldn't push anything across. Can Taylor Panel come through here?
This has been the bat for Tennessee. 15 home runs on the year, was injured a lot of her freshman season, kind of derailed that year for her, and has come back healthy, stronger than ever. Even asked her, I mean, what has evolved for you since that freshman year? Had an incredible season in your redshirt sophomore campaign, and she said, I just worked my tail off. I got healthy and committed to the grind. Karen Weekly was one that interjected during that question and said, listen, I can answer that for you. She knows what she wants, and she is unafraid to be patient enough until she gets it. Well, she's been getting it this year. It's been a heck of a season for her at the plate.
And unpleased with the call behind the plate. Saw some, or heard some fans rather, say a little something about what that last pitch was.
I'm not sure what the note was there on the book.
And then walked over to the Ohio State dugout. And maybe a dugout warning? As Panel popped up and retired. Well, the folks from Columbus have come here to Knoxville to see their team keep on moving. Scoreless game here. They are behind this group who has exceeded the expectations in year one under Kieran Kamara. Sophia Nugent, she's taken some really good swings this weekend.
Yeah, there is nothing unsure about her cut at the plate. We saw her hit a monster bomb over the scoreboard earlier this season. It's worked well with Coach Craig Snyder, you see standing at the mouth of the dugout, and there's just a lot of synergy with the style of offense here at Tennessee and the style of Sophia Nugent at the plate.
And Nugent lifts this one high in the left field at the wall, a home run! Oh, they're gonna call it a double as it goes off a piece in left field. No, it's all the way. It was confusing at one point. He gave the sign. Nugent was unsure as she stopped at second base. And to that point of the way Sophia Nugent has been swinging the bat this weekend, Kieran Kamara is coming out. Another look here.
I mean, that is not a bad pitch. PK elevates this. This is right the top of the wall. I would be shocked if this is not going to go to review. Parisian giving chase and a jump to, that's an 8-foot-tall wall, and that ball off the bat is Sophia Nugent. Whether it is ruled a home run or a double, it gets at least a run across.
The call on the field of a home run is being challenged by Ohio State. The play is under review.
I mean, this call will, again, however this is determined, 1 run versus 2. It sounded like it hit the foul pole.
It did. Where that little placard right there is like.
That would be a home run. If it hits that foul pole and comes back into the field, as opposed to the top of the wall, I'll tell you, just the sound of it felt and it sounded like it hit that metal foul pole, in my opinion.
We heard it up here, that ricochet, because I think it ricochets off of that foul pole and then comes bouncing back down on top. And the initial call was a home run, and then it was uncertainty. You saw Nugent kind of load off. Let's listen in as we look back at that swing.
You can hear it.
Yep.
I mean, that is a padded wall, and I don't think if it hits the top or even the edge of that wall, you would hear that clunk. I mean, that to me was pretty clear that it's the metal foul pole, and that should be ruled a home run. If it stands, that would be the 16th home run of the season for Sophia Nugent, a Oklahoma transfer, won 2 titles with the Sooners, and has been a mainstay for this Lady Vol offense.
And you see how loose she is in this timeout? She's like, okay, I'm just going to jam to the tunes that's playing here right now. I mean, both teams have threatened. Kennedy K has done a terrific job here this afternoon for Ohio State, gathering themselves. She had to bring her best game today. She's risen to that occasion, but you said it was going to potentially just take one swing to make the difference here, as we have seen 5 scoreless innings between these two teams. And again, the call on the field was a home run. They're still reviewing whether that will be upheld or not. And like you said, Aaron, the difference between either 1 run or 2 runs.
I just asked the question. I think we're still efforting this answer, but I wonder if the sound is at play here in these reviews. I mean, the visual, tough to decipher and peel apart, but to me, the sound is the evidence that gives a clear answer.
I mean, this is what we heard in real time.
That's a home run. The sound, in my opinion, is a very clear indicator of the contact of that ball.
Again, they're conferring with the officials in Pittsburgh. A lot of different ways, I'm sure, to review it. I'm curious on the sound piece. Hopefully we'll get that answered. So Karen Kamar using her final challenge on whether this was a home run or not for Tennessee.
Tiffany, to the impact of it being 1 run versus 2, you're facing the nation's leader in home runs. You'd love to have that extra insurance run up on the board late in this ball game.
So we will hear what the call will be. Everyone, listen in. This is an important part of the game. Aaron Peterson.
After review, the call on the field is upheld. Ohio State, second challenge.
The difference in emotion. And how about the excitement from the Lady Vol dugout as this crowd erupts
This is a big call for Tennessee. Again, who they are facing. The power that Ohio State has at the plate to have 2 runs on the board now in the top of the 6th inning. There's 6 outs left to work with for the Buckeyes. Insurance runs so vital at this point in this ball game.
And right now, Big Mo with the host seed Tennessee. It has been hard to come by hits in this ball game, and when it's been a pitcher's duel, and to put up 2 runs here. It's critical. Kenneth Gibson at the plate, and you go back to Nugent, did so with 2 outs.
It wasn't a bad pitch out of the hand of Kay either. It was elevated pitch, rise ball, up under hands. But when you're facing a bat like Sophia Nugent, again, this is the effect of Craig Snyder, of expanding that approach at the plate. It's not just a textbook strike zone. Looks like Craig Snyder going to have a word with Boo Gibson. It is not just textbook strike. It's what you can crush. And what you can crush may not be what an umpire will call, and that's exactly what you saw from Sophia Nugent.
Courtney Vierstra, the pitching coach and assistant for Ohio State, having some words with Kennedy Kay and just reminding her, hey, got to get 1 more out and pass it back over to your offense. Vierstra, who came over with Kumar from Miami of Ohio after pitching for the Red Hawks. And there's the All-American National Player of the Year, top 10 finalist Carlin Pickens warming up in the bullpen.
Yeah, might we see her maybe
close it out
in the 7th? I think that's exactly maybe the thought process here. Come in and slam the door.
Now 3 balls and a strike to Gibson. Ball 4 and the walk to Boo. That brings up Laura Mueller. Pinch runner in is Zoe Schuler over now at first base. And Aaron, this has been an outstanding game thus far.
It feels like postseason, because it is. It comes down to the details. It comes down to those tiny things, literally an inch versus hitting a foul pole versus the top of that outfield wall. A game of inches.
A little scuff, the little dent there from the home run.
They're going to inspect that foul pole after this game. What a weekend Laura Mueller has had. 3 for 5, a grand slam, taking some free bases.
Good job by Jazzy Burns. Burns, the sophomore power hitter, also the catcher for the Buckeyes. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. She readies back in. Mueller awaits the pitch. Kay delivers. Zipped down the third baseline. And how about it running around? That's Schuler coming in, attack on some more insurance. The 2-out RBI double for Laura Mueller, who's continuing a red-hot weekend.
I don't don't know that there's anyone for Tennessee that has seen the ball better than Laura Mueller. Parisian having to come up in the corner of this field to gun down runners in motion. And yet another insurance run for Tennessee, so important in this matchup for more reasons than one. It has been nothing for both of these teams through 5 full innings. We talked about it, Tiffany, was going to come down to one swing, one play, one pitch. Well, Tennessee keeping their foot on the gas here in the 6th.
It's been this one inning that has been the difference, as Lauren Boutte will get the ball. The freshman will try to get out of the inning and give the Buckeyes a chance. Lauren Boutte out of St. Charles, Missouri, has picked up a couple of wins this weekend. This is the arm that they really rode to get to this point thus far this weekend. You see 12 innings pitch. It's given up 9 earned runs in this regional round to go along with that many walks as well. So now, important duty here. Get one out, get out of the inning, and give your offense a chance to come up in the bottom half of the inning. Try to chip away at this 3-run deficit.
I mean, it says freshman on the bio, but to this point, with the amount of experience and innings that Boutte has thrown, they've graduated, school's over with. This is a sophomore, in my opinion. I mean, so much leadership for her in the circle. Level-headed when she's on. She has been on for this team. The mentality from this young pitcher has been one that's made head coach Karen Kumar so proud.
Big Ten all-freshman team for Boutte. Who has pitched in some really big moments throughout her young career. Shut out Georgia in a complete game appearance. Helped clinch the series against Nebraska. And Emma Clark sends this one flying in to right, and Boutte gets the job done. But how much they come in with all this home run hitting ability. They've got 8 games without a home run. One of them came against Pickens, who did not allow one to leave the park yesterday.
She held Ohio State scoreless through 5, ended up giving up a couple runs late in that ball game, and now stepping in for Sage Marjeko, who also held Ohio State scoreless through 5 innings and is looking to close out this ball game.
Jazzy Burns puts it on the ground. Mueller is there and 1 down. But let's not forget, for those of you watching at home, this game is far from over or out of reach for Ohio State, as they had to come back down 3 runs against North Carolina to win in a 9-6 decision and make it to the last elimination game of yesterday.
Well, and two, you have to just pay respects to the offensive numbers that this team has put up. You know that they're not out of a ball game. It feels like a ticking time bomb for Ohio State. And right now, it's a matter of just not giving free passes, because when you do, this team takes it, they run with it. Quick work so far against Quartercracks.
Fouled off. This pitching staff has just been great against Ohio State. You think just last inning. It was the first time that the Buckeyes even had a runner or player in scoring position, and now the 0-2 pitch to quarter cracks, and she commits. Pickens with the K. So quickly 2 down for this Ohio State lineup in the meat of their order.
It's a really good location from Carlin Pickens. Eats up the hands of quarter cracks.
You mentioned running out of opportunities. The Buckeyes are working with 4 outs. If they want to try to push to that, if necessary, game 7. Their biggest comeback in tournament history back in 2009 against BYU. They advanced to the Supers.
Pickens really living on the inside part of that strike zone. Going back there again, it's already tough enough to hit mid-70s, but let alone when it's running in on the hands, you have to be even more compact to make contact with that ball. I mean, look, that just barely clips the inside part of the strike zone. Beautiful location.
Special K sits her down. Back-to-back strikeouts for Carlin Pickens. The excitement, yes, for Special K, because she handles the Buckeyes quickly.
The best arms in the nation. Carlin Pickens stepping in to try and slam this door shut.
Poor Allie for her swing. Such a timely pop.
You know she's desiring not only to get back to Supers, perhaps another opportunity to make it to Oklahoma City. As the Lady Vols closing in on their 14th regional final. Gabby Leach unleashes there over the right center wall. And you want some insurance? How about the solo blast right there from Leach? Feed me.
One pitch, one swing.
So much fireworks from Tennessee late in this ball game. It took them a little bit to get the engine revved up, but my goodness, is this vehicle moving. The belly rub.
You knew the mindset of this Tennessee team not wanting to extend this day any further. And like you said, found the right time to come alive via one of their seniors in Sophia Nugent. For those of you looking for the Crimson Tide of Alabama and Virginia Tech in their regional final, it's starting right now over on ESPN News. Of course, a number of games in action right now. Texas and UCF, Florida, Mercer, about first-timers, North Florida in the regional final against South Carolina. ACC champs, Clemson going against SEC-owned Kentucky. And Ella Dodge. Stand-up double, and the hot hitting continuing for Tennessee.
Another one of those freshmen that continues to impress for Tennessee at the bottom of this order. Has not only shown her gap-to-gap power, but her patience turns this lineup over. Looks like there may be a change, too, in the pitching circle here for Ohio State.
We're going to see Kennedy Kay re-enter the ball game. Remember, she started this game, and so Kay gets the ball back. And we'll be back with more here from this exciting Knoxville Regional. She started out strong, hanging toe-to-toe with Sage Marcheco, a pitcher's duel through 5 innings. Again, trying to advance the runner, fouled off by Fiedler, now 0-2. This Tennessee team with hopes of going far in this NCAA tournament will face off potentially against either Nebraska or Southeastern Louisiana if they're able to hold on to the win.
What's on the line right now for Ohio State? You got 4 seniors just in this starting lineup trying to win themselves at least another game to take this to a Game 7.
And into the glove of Lamone and center. First down of the inning. Just to catch you up, folks, if you're just tuning in, Aaron Miller, Tiffany Green here with you. The 6th inning is when the fireworks exploded for Tennessee. 2-run home run by Sophia Nugent, the catcher for the Lady Vols. Broke the goose eggs on the scoreboard, followed up by an RBI double for Laura Mueller. Those two have combined for 13 RBI this weekend. And then Gabby Leach started off the inning, tacking on some more insurance with a solo home run. That brings us to our 4-0 score. And Sophia Nugent has been loose the entire time as they're continuing to pat the bat. Savia Morgan with an RBI single to right. Starting to break this thing open. Panel coming up to the plate. Nugent on deck because of Savia Morgan doing this.
It feels like Tennessee just taking it and run with it now. The floodgates starting to open, and it's been way of this fundamental softball, just peppering this ball past the infield. This is a team that finds a lot of different ways to produce. And what a weekend Savia Morgan has had, now a 3-for-4 day.
Pitch to Taylor Panel, the chopper over to shortstop, dug out well by Quartercracks. Nice job by Milliken to go tall to get that one.
A leap from Milliken. Looks like they may review this.
The ruling on the field of out at first base is being challenged by Tennessee. The play is under review.
She had to get on her tippy toes. Did she separate her foot from the bag in the process?
And no denying it took her that way.
So they'll look it over, review it once more as Tennessee spins one of their 2 challenges. Ohio State has exhausted both of theirs. Another look here.
Throw in time.
Tough to see from these angles, and you have to have, you know, conclusive evidence to see something different to overturn the call from what was on the field. And from these angles, I think yay you say the ball gets there on time. Secondly, is her foot attached to the bag?
I don't know that there's enough here to overturn, and at that point, you just got to trust the eyes of Heath Walker standing over there at first base. He had the best look. I mean, he was right on top of that bag to, at minimum, assure that there was contact made.
They're still taking a look as to whether Taylor Panel was indeed out at first base or not. And an additional look here from this angle.
I mean, we are sure that the ball is there. I think that that's pretty clear through all the vantage points here.
From these angles, I don't know if there is enough evidence to overturn the call, because it looked like Milliken kept her foot on the bag. We'll hear right now.
After review, the call in the field is upheld. The runner is out. Tennessee's first challenge.
So one challenge unsuccessful for Karen Weekly, and it's worth a try. It was really close play there. Bang bang at first base. And back up to the plate is Sophia Nugent, who is the hero of this game. That go-ahead two-run homer last inning. And Karen Weekly just talked about how hitting has been contagious for this group. You see one teammate do something cool, you want to get in on the action, do something of your own.
It's too just seeing the success in front of you, that it can be done. And that's the way it's felt for Tennessee. I mean, scoreless through 5 innings, and after that one blast of Sophia Nugent, this whole game opened up for the Vols at the plate.
They came across hits here and there, but what we heard Karen Weekly talking about, keep throwing those punches, keep throwing those punches. And now they're trying to create as much separation as possible to enact the second part of their motto of punch to kill. Said no warning shots fired.
I think they've really lived by that motto the last inning and a half.
Nugent skies this one into right, and now Ohio State coming down to their final 3 outs. And due up in the order for the Buckeyes, and that one nips Caitlin Farley, so the hit by pitch allows the free pass and the leadoff runner aboard.
We'll get a look at where this hits her. If it did, it was a whisper on that Evo shield. I mean, this is the name of the game right now for Ohio State, is setting the table. When Ohio State has done their damage this weekend, it has when free passes have been awarded early, walks, hit by pitches, errors. This team takes an inch and runs with it a mile.
And pinch hitter Emma Tolley at the plate. The sophomore out of Carlsbad, California. And just getting a different look up there at the plate as Tolley is quickly down the count 0-2. Ohio State, who's only been shut out one other time this season. That was against UCLA earlier in the year. And Tolley strikes out, and for this senior group that includes Morgan Fry, who's coming to the plate, down to potentially your final 2 outs. Fry, Milliken, Amy Quartercracks, Caitlin Farley, who's standing at first. They have done a tremendous job for this group out of Columbus, Ohio.
They have been the leaders that taken the newness this year and put together an unbelievable season for Ohio State. The offensive numbers, the Big Ten success, one of the 8 Big Ten teams to make it into the NCAA tournament, breaking a Big Ten record.
Well, this senior class is a part of the record books in Ohio State softball history. We came on air, everyone knows about this power hitting team. The offensive leaders that they have been throughout the country in a number of different categories, but also how quickly they bought in and attached to their first-year head coach, willing to believe in what she offered, that recipe for success, as strikeouts have been a part of the success of Carlin Pickens, 4 already since coming in relief last inning. Fans come to their feet here in Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. Skylar Lamone represents the final out for Ohio State. Tennessee seeking their 3rd straight regional appearance, or super regional appearance. And now 1 ball and 1 strike to Lamone.
You feel it. For Tennessee, you can taste it. You're an out away from punching that ticket to hosting yet another super regional right here in Knoxville.
And now 1 strike away, 1 out away. Carlin Pickens, and Skylar Lamone gets just a piece of that, enough to stay alive. Tennessee Lady Vols keep on dancing to the Super Regional round. Their 9th consecutive host of the Super Regional. Third straight Super Regional, 9th overall, and the emotions, you feel it for these Ohio State Buckeyes. Hats off to this group who did a fantastic job all season long.
You gotta give so much credit to Sage Marjeko, who got the start